Welcome to the Maria Heller Show, the Internet's original podcast. Since the year 2000, always ahead of the curve, always on your side. A true warrior for truth and justice, Maria and her guests leave nothing out, and no one is off limits. There is only one truth, the rest is lies. Sit back, enjoy the education with a true daughter of Mother Earth. Sharp New York wit, spiritual knowing, and a very dry sense of humor, Maria will dissect the news and lies to make it all palatable. Education is power. Maria delivers rapid-fire truth like no one else can. Here she is, the mouth that roars, the legendary Meria Heller.
Good morning, world. Maria here, alive and kicking. Welcome to Awaken with Meria and Monica. And today we have a solution-oriented show, so you're going to sit back and enjoy it. It's a break from the false reality of hell that we live in. But today we're going to give you answers to your questions and tell you how to walk between two worlds. But before I do that, I just have a last-minute announcement. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I will be guest on Chuck Ocelli's show. Get over to ocelli.com. It'll be 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. And Chuck and I usually have quite the time. Who knows what we'll talk about. Anyway, good morning to Monica.
Hey, Maria, how do you spell Ocelli?
Ocelli, it's Ochelli.
Okay, because I know in Italian, sometimes they don't use the H. You know, they maybe use two C's or something like that. But
well, I love the way some Italians in this country, especially politicians, want their names pronounced when I only know how to pronounce them as Italian names because I grew up surrounded by major Italian names. You know?
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And you know, one of the things that popped in my head is this news. It's like I can't even watch it anymore on television because it's so disgusting to me. There's no solutions. It's just negative, as opposed to your show, which gives the information, and you do it well, better than anybody I know. And you always have solutions because you've got a spiritual content as well. So, and you know, your sense of humor also allows people to really open up and listen. So I don't know if you know that you're doing this, but you're opening up people's hearts, which is really great. So I thought, shoot, what should we do next time for a show? And all of a sudden it popped in my head, sick of the bullshit, we have the answers.
Right.
Solutions. We have the solutions. So I was thinking, you know what? People need that.
Absolutely. I mean, I get calls from people all the time that are freaking out, and they're like, how do you exist with all the news that you cover? And you listen to my news shows, and you know that there's hardly a thing going on in the world that I don't cover.
Oh, you come up with stuff that other people don't even see.
Right. But you know what? Years ago, Monica, when I studied with Sun Bear, I remember one of the earliest things was a three-day seminar with him in upstate New York, okay? And there I was expecting it was going to be a totally spiritual weekend. You know, that's where I learned about the medicine wheel, which changed my life. And in walks Sun Bear. You know, he's wearing a flannel shirt, beat up jeans, a beat up hat. And he sits in front of the room, and, you know, you could see the difference when he starts talking. He was anything but what I expected. All I could see was spirit talking through this man.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah, and what amazed me was he covered everything in the news. Environmentally, politically, this, that, mixed it all in with the spiritual teachings of the wheel and our interconnectedness to all life, etc. And I looked at him and I was stymied. I said, oh my God, how can he stay on top of all these things, and why? Why is he talking about all these other things when I was assuming it was just going to be, a spiritual weekend?
Yeah.
And then he said, in order to be a spiritual person, you have to know everything that's going on the planet. Spirituality is not disconnected from everything else.
That's what the New Age movement tried to do in the 80s, was disconnect people, which is like, no.
Right. But I remember he also said, that you always take on the gifts of your teacher. The student always takes on the gifts of their teacher. And at that point, I looked at him and said, there's no way I could do what this man is doing.
Oh, he's right.
And here I am, a mere,
Exactly.
I don't know, I think that was 1985.
I love that. What's interesting is that around the same time for me, because I started doing my first mediumship work was at age 11 in 1962, which goes to show you how old I am. Anyway, and in the mid 80s, I remember a friend of mine took me to an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. Now, you know how their music's so uplifting because it's A, very spiritual,
Right.
and B, the people that are within the group are also very involved, and C, I mean, you can't help it but get up and dance, which dancing is fantastic. If anybody's ever depressed, put on your favorite song and just start moving your body, because when you move your body, it changes what's going on in the brain chemistry. And conversely, if you change your thoughts to positive and loving ones, it changes your body posture. Start standing straight up, because people that are depressed slump over. So after the concert, my friend surprised me that we got to go back to the lead singer. I got to meet all of them, and the lead singer is Maurice White. And I've always loved him, and he's got an amazing voice. He's passed on. But anyway, he took us back to the hotel room where we got to spend time. There was 4 of us that got to spend time with Maurice White. That's the only man I've ever seen pure light coming from. And he looked at me, and I said, why do you have like spaceships on your albums and, the symbol for Sagittarius? And he goes, well, my birthday is December 21st. I'm Sag, and that's the 4.
That's my birthday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so, isn't that interesting? No coincidences. But anyway, so he looked at me and looked through me, and he said, "You're very intuitive." He goes, "You're highly intuitive." And I just smiled, and he goes, "Are you an Aries?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He proceeded to give me a whole reading about myself, which I didn't expect. He had other people there, and he just zoomed in, and he just said, "You're gifted." And he told us a story about why he has a connection to extraterrestrials. He said that he was abducted once for a period of 2 weeks' time, and he said that they showed him how to manifest. That they put like a quarter in his hand. He goes, "Now think gold," and he thought of the coin in gold, and it turned gold. They showed him how everything worked, and after that experience is why he came down, and he was serene. It was walking like in the presence of someone who is just pure light and love. And Meria, of all people, the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire, that's how you got surprised by your spiritual weekend with this man. And I was surprised by Maurice White, and we became friends. We stayed in touch with each other for a long time until he passed away.
Wow.
So that's my little story there. A lot of people don't know about the story behind Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right. Well, I think it was about 10 years ago. One day I was getting ready to do my show, and it just hit me. I said, I'm doing exactly what Sunbear did, and I never believed that I was capable of doing it.
Oh my gosh, he opened up something within you. I mean, whether it's a channel in your brain or something, it's altered.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he changed my life forever on
And
every level.
And today, I wanted to say in today's show, because I do have some steps for people to get through those emotions that are bothering them, instead of repressing them by covering them up and coping with them, like either alcohol, drugs, or food. My choice was food, of course, and until I ballooned up to 300 pounds and realized I'm going to die, so I had to lose it all, and I did. The thing about it is there's ways to get rid of those emotions that are really bothering us, because these triggers, these things that are happening right now are triggering old memories from our past. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to react. So however we react to something is what's inside of us that needs to be released. So there's steps to doing that. I'd like to share those today. And then after that, the solution continues with what you have to do once you've released those emotions. And it's really a fun process. You can turn a negative into a positive, which is cool. And Meria, this is why you do your work so well, and you don't get affected like a lot of other people. Like, how can you do this? Don't you go bonkers? Because you're really clear on the inside, and anything that comes up, you deal with it on your own. And it's probably not a big deal, but it's just like you release it. And I really admire that about you.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm certainly not going to hold on to it, that's for sure.
Oh, listen, no, it just hurts us, you know?
I have recommended to so many people, listen, this whole world is an illusion. So why not pretend? You can pretend, like people that hate their jobs. And I often counsel people that hate their jobs. When you go into work tomorrow, pretend you're walking into the set of a soap opera and you're just playing your part.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Right, just change your perspective and everything else changes.
You change perspective. And I always tell them at the end, I said, this whole life is really kind of a play, and we each came here to do our part. And it's like going to a theater after the play is over with. They all go backstage and they celebrate, because they did a good. Now you played a really good asshole, and yeah, you were really a bitch, and
right.
and so good job. But anyway, it's kind of like a play for me, just like what you're saying. And then you celebrate it after you leave here and go back home. But the key is, why don't we celebrate it while we're here and not get involved in the drama and learn how to let it, pass.
Right.
But if it does trigger an emotion, then the trigger was worth it.
Absolutely. Well, the way that I look at my life, especially my work, because there's really no difference. I am what I am. And
you sound like Popeye.
I am what I am. I don't think he was smoking spinach either. Anyway, when I look at my work, I realize that, and it makes sense for me, it might help other people to think this way, is that the future's already assured. So what we are is really visitors to the past.
I love the way you said that.
And to me, right, and to me, I'm just visiting this period in human history as a journalist, as a recorder, as a living recorder, because I teach through storytelling. And I know that I take what I get here to other worlds and other planets when I'm sleeping.
You bet.
Because
remember that movie Contact?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Jodie Foster?
Oh, yeah.
Everything's been recorded, stays recorded. The spoken word is so powerful. And that would be one of the first things I'd like to cover, is that the spoken word holds more power. Be careful what you say, as it's said in Scripture, because, I am a minister and I am a spiritualist, but I'm not a religious person. But I happen to know the book because I had to study it when I was 19 and 20.
Me too.
By your words you are justified, or by your words you are condemned. And so people take things so lightly, and they say, oh my God, I almost died. Well, the brain is a biocomputer, and it's very literal. So when you say stuff like that, be careful.
Exactly. Well, yesterday, it's interesting. Yesterday I heard from an old student of mine. I haven't heard from her. God, it's got to be like 6 years. And she said, just talking to you made me feel so much better. And I said to her, you need to subscribe to my show, whether you listen to the words I'm saying or not. The sound and vibration of my voice is very healing for a lot of people.
Yes.
And people don't realize sound and vibration is another way we recognize our other members of our soul group.
Well, when I listen to your show afterwards, I'm always smiling. That's a good thing.
Yes, it is. If I can make you laugh telling the news, then I'm good. I'm damn good.
Yeah. You watch other shows and I get depressed. I'm like, no, I can't handle this. I can't. Okay, and then I think to myself, what's it triggering within you that you don't want to look at?
Right. Well,
So
the other day, I'll make you laugh. I walked into my doctor's office, and I'm sure you have Banner Health in California, too. It's a big factory. And the two girls behind the desk, there's one woman that's absolutely, for whatever reason, she compels me. I can't take my eyes off of her. Everything from her hair to her face to you name it, right? So I walk in just to sign in, and there's two girls behind the desk. And this one woman that I didn't know before that day, she looks at me and she goes, are you the psychic? And I looked at her like, what? She said, my sister-in-law cuts your hair. She sends me all your Facebook Lives with your daughter doing your readings, right? So we get into this whole conversation, and this other woman's just grinning away. And I looked at her and I says, every time I come in here, I always compliment you. And that's because I recognize you from a past life. She immediately got chills in the chair. She was like totally freaked out. She goes, oh my God, I feel electricity going through me. What is this? I said, that's confirmation.
Confirmation.
And she was just delighted, because I have to tell them, listen, I'll remember your faces forever, but I always get people's names wrong, because I remember their names from other lifetimes. And if it fits them better, I just keep calling them by that name.
I know, I do. I say, well, you look more like a Barbara, but that's not my name. I'm Marilyn. No, it's Barbara.
Right. But you know what? It just gave them such assurance and such a good feeling. Just that simple little conversation.
Yeah.
Because people need that connection. Today, everything is set up to disconnect us from each other, whether it's technology or what.
I'm sorry, Maria.
That's
I just
okay.
interrupted you, but
That's
something
all right.
popped in my head. You know how it works.
Yes, I do.
One of the things I because I receive messages every morning, especially from extraterrestrials, since I've been in touch with them since I was 4. And what they said is to tell people every time you walk through a door, and you can practice this at home, put a smile on your face, because it changes everything. And even when you walk into a grocery store and there's a smile on your face, people assess you within 6 seconds. Even if they don't know you, they get a feeling about you. And when you have a smile on your face, you're actually lifting the vibration of those around you, and you actually make them feel better. And a lot of times they'll actually greet you right back and say, good morning, or, you look nice today. And I thought, I like that idea. So to get into the habit of it, every time you walk through a door in your own house, just put a smile on your face. And I thought, what a simple technique.
Right. Well, what was that old saying? A smile is a frown turned upside down.
Yeah, exactly. And people will smile back, and that heals us.
Absolutely. I always make a point of commenting and complimenting people on their beautiful babies when I'm out shopping.
Oh, do you? And I say I look for something if I'm like in produce.
Right.
And if I like that lady's color or a man's, tie or whatever, I'll just say, I really like that. But you've got to be sincere. You can't do this being fake. You've got to be sincere.
But I've seen people's entire aura change as soon as I give them a compliment or actually pay attention or acknowledge their existence.
Right. And if they don't respond at the time because maybe they're hurt or something, believe me, as soon as they leave, they're going to think about you, and it's going to help them change. It might take a few minutes. It might take a couple of hours, but you have made a difference. And so that's how we as individuals can really make a difference with respect to helping other people with doing the simplest little things. But we've got to start to help ourselves first.
Absolutely.
So if it's okay with you, I would like to go through a couple of really quick steps, and if people want to take notes or re-listen to this broadcast, it would be okay. The first thing, is that okay?
Sure, go ahead.
The first thing is that, we all have emotions stuck within us, within our being. I mean, it could be, on your thigh, it could be, in another dimension, but there's emotions that are stuck. A lot of them are from the past because we didn't come with an owner's manual, and a lot of parents didn't have resources to draw from. Nobody's got an owner's manual. So they do a lot of things that are that damage us. And until I discovered the books by John Bradshaw, which are like the best ever about raising a child, the family and the child within, those are the best. And so you form your self-esteem by age 2. After that, it's like, whoa. So if people do this, that they damage their kid by the time they're age 2, they have a hard time recouping from those experiences. Mm-hmm. I was one of those, and I had to learn how to reparent myself, which is, by the way, there's a great book called Self-Parenting by John Pollard. You can read it like in an hour, but it teaches you how to talk to yourself in a nurturing way, because as adults, it's our responsibility to parent ourselves the way we wanted to be parented. So you can change the past that way and your experience. There's also NLP techniques that I know, but I'm not going to get into those. So when something happens and we respond in a way, fear, worry, self-doubt, feelings of not being deserving, abandonment, whatever they are, pay attention. They're coming up not to bum us out or to say, why am I worried? Why do I feel this way again? It's happening again. No, don't react like that. Just say to yourself, okay, I've got to look at this because this emotion wants to be gone. It's trying to leave me. Like the old quotation said that I got from Terry Cole Whitaker in 1983, love brings up anything unlike itself to be healed. And as you say, Meria, life is the only reality. Everything else is illusion. And our good friend David Icke says that all the time as well. But people don't stop to listen to what that really, really means. So a trigger is something that happens that gets a reaction from us, either negative or positive, so we can look at how we're reacting and then let it go. So what I do, my process is this. I bring up that emotion. I had one recently, and what I do is I have it come up within me in my mind's eye as a little child, either male or female child. And I go, so you're worried. So you're worried about not having security? Okay, so let me see what you look like. Oh, you're a little girl. Okay. All right, you look scared. Okay, I don't want you to feel like that, and I know you don't want to feel like that for the rest of your entire existence. So one thing I can do is I can't create energy or destroy it, but I can convert you. So I open my heart. I said, look at my heart. There's a little green light glowing, and that's the color of the heart chakra. And I'm going to send you a beam of light right to your heart, and I'm going to send it. I would like you to breathe in and receive that love. We're not even going to focus on what you've been going through. We're going to focus on changing it. So then I send that beam of green light to their heart, and then as soon as I start seeing them smile and a little glow around them, like the aura turns greenish color, I go, okay, I'm sure you feel better. And the little child always agrees, and they're smiling. And then I say, okay, now I want you to do this. I want whatever your passion is, you can insert whatever you want here, but I love animals. So I always tell them, why don't you go to all the animal hospitals or any place in this world where you see a wounded animal or someone that needs to be healed and give them a little kiss on the forehead or send them some green light from your heart to theirs so that they heal faster. Would you like to do that? And they always say, yeah, yeah. Okay, so now you've got a purpose where you're going to be helping animals on this planet. And then I say, okay, bye. Thank you for coming up. I really appreciate it. And I know it sounds so silly, but guess what? It works.
Absolutely. Listen, I've always believed that spirituality is very simple. And I've always found that if a teacher's out there and their stuff is very complicated and involved, that it's BS. Okay? Spirituality should be simple and also should be fun.
And it should be fun.
Right.
Exactly.
If you're not having fun on your spiritual path, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I always say to people, look, here's the thing. When an emotion, sorry, my cell phone, sorry. What happens is that when we have, something come up, instead of saying, oh no, instead say, oh yay, good, this is coming up. This is something else I can let go of and turn it into a real positive experience. So changing the perspective on that makes the difference, because your body wants to rid itself of density. I mean, we wouldn't block ourselves from those toxins called feces. We go to the bathroom, we flush the freaking toilet, and we move on. And so with this, the emotions are very dense, they're very toxic, and the body doesn't want them. And that's what causes people to get sick, is when they're constantly not letting go of emotions, especially from the past. That's cancer-causing stuff,
Right. It reminds me of that song from South Pacific, "Gonna wash that man right out of my hair."
Oh, my God. I'm singing that in my head now,
Well, when my daughter was little, because she ended up being a drama major, and that's what she went to school for. But when she was little, she was obsessed with that movie, South Pacific.
My gosh.
So she used to dress her brother up. She couldn't have been more than, 10, but she would dress up her 3-year-old brother as parts and characters, and they'd put on the whole play from South Pacific.
Get out.
And we had to
Really?
sit there and watch it for an eternity. And believe me, when you're a parent, it's like, oh God, another song. But now I think about it, and it's, pretty fond memories. But, there was a lot of, sometimes those, even in an old musical, you can walk away with a little bit of spiritual truth.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. I do have one question. It kind of reminds me of what you and I were talking about before the show. From one of my dear listeners, and I love her. This from Christina. She said she has a question. She says, is it possible that during life, the soul or spirit goes into a moment of impasse, like being trapped in a black hole, or is it just a trick of the mind? Now, I just got through telling you that I've been waking up at 4:30, and then I lay in bed till 8, and I can't tell if I'm sleeping or I'm awake.
Yes, me too. Same thing.
So I found her question quite timely. I would say that, yes, sometimes you're out of body. And sometimes you're just between two worlds. And if you're becoming multidimensional, that's normal.
Yeah. And also when, you can reach those states of unconsciousness while you're awake. And that's pretty trippy, though. It scared me when I left my body and saw my body and looked back at it. The thing is that we're in a beta level right now, so our brain rhythm cycles per second are a lot faster, and the heart's beating normally. But as you start doing some deep breathing, some cleansing breaths, inhaling from the nose, holding your breath, and exhale from the mouth, and do it very, very slowly, it starts to then bring you into the alpha level, which is the dream state. And you start to feel a little woozy. That's where also rapid eye movement takes place. Then it goes into the theta levels, which is completely asleep, but then you still have dreams, but then you go into a delta level, which is where you leave your body, and that's like, you wake up and say, wow, I saw my mom who's passed over. Yeah, you visited her, or she visited you. Mm-hmm. But you can do that, and that's what happened to you and I. We go to sleep, but we're not really sleeping because we're still aware. Now, what I found, Meria, is that it's harder for us to get some sleep because we're doing readings constantly in the alpha level, sometimes even lower. That's a sleep state. And when you take someone through a guided meditation, they usually fall asleep because they're not used to being awake on the alpha levels or beta or theta levels. And so what's happening is that, those times it's like, what's happening during the delta? Well, don't ever wake up somebody when their eyes are moving, the rapid eye movement,
right,
or they're in the delta, because it's going to really mess up their neurological system, which is really key to mastering life, is mastering the neurological system. don't be so uptight, because when you're uptight like that, you're stimulating the nervous system. The more you talk to yourself in the head, the more you stimulate the nervous system. The more you're talking to yourself, the more you stimulate the nervous system. And that's when you see people that are, because I love to observe people, and when they're sitting there moving their legs are crossed, but they're moving it back and forth, back and forth. I know, boy, do they have a stimulated nervous system. Or what I do is call it monkey behavior, when they're scratching their head and, scratching their body, or they just can't stand still. It's like I feel sorry for them, because all you have to do is take B12, do some deep breathing, and you'd feel calm. But to most people, calmness means boredom. They have to be doing. So I say, you're not a human doing, you're a human being.
Exactly.
So you want to chill a little bit, feel comfortable with being calm, and when this happens, all you have to do is just say, no, I choose to have serenity and peace and calmness. So I take B12 every morning. You don't want to take it in the afternoon, because it gives you a punch of energy, especially the sublinguals. They go right into your body. And they're cherry flavored anyway, so they're good. But I take those in the morning, and then what it does is it calms down my nervous system, but I have a ton of energy, which makes me sound hyper. But that's just OCD, so.
Join the club. Join the club. Well, it's interesting, because what you're saying is very true. And I remember, when I had a bed partner, my first warning would be, do not ever touch me or wake me up if I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And people don't get that. I remember one night my husband was having a poker game with his friends downstairs. We had a 2-story house. And there I am upstairs, and I was doing a conscious out-of-body experiment with myself. And in the middle of that, one of the guys leaves and slams the front door, and it shocked me right back into my body. And I had a headache to beat the band, and I was
terrible.
I was not happy. I was like, oh no,
terrible.
forced re-entry, not good.
Yeah, it's weird when you do go out of body and you're constantly, and you're aware of that. Like, I remember one time when I left my body, I came back, I was awake, but I couldn't actually move my body, but I saw my hand trying to turn off the TV, which I left on, and my hand went through the TV set. It was funny. And I thought, how come I can't turn off this TV set? Oh, I'm not in my body yet.
Right. Re-entry, forced re-entry, not good.
But forced re-entry is not good. No, you shock people's nervous system, and that's like, you don't do that to a pet, you don't do that to a person. You know, because people like that. People are so dumb sometimes. They're like clueless. They're like, boo. They say that to their dog, or they stare them in the eyes. It scares the dog when you do that, So it's like, have some compassion, because, that's my weak spot, is my love for animals. And that's not weak. Wrong word. That's my sensitive spot, is animals.
Well, mine too.
I love them so much, sometimes more than people, but because they're pure love.
Mine too. Well, dog spelled backwards is God, and I don't think it's by accident. Right. Right. But when I walk into my chiropractor's office, she has this beautiful dog, Emma, one of the most beautiful dogs ever. And, I watch other people, they try to engage the dog, and dogs don't like especially not their faces touched. I don't think I would like it if somebody just came up to me and started grabbing my face.
Yeah.
But I always wait for Emma to come up to me, and she will come right up to me, and I know then she wants me to pet her. She wants some Reiki.
Yeah. Well, I let them, they go by sense of smell, so I let them smell my hand.
Uh-huh.
And then I always get down to their level, too, because they're sick of looking up. Do you know that when you look up, that's when you trigger your intuition? Did people know that? I don't know if you know that. But this is why children are so intuitive and so psychic. I don't even like the word psychic, but because it's been misused, in the last century. They always think, oh, you got a power. No, we all have it. So when you're looking up, you're actually triggering those intuitive levels. The right brain is actually activated. So children, they're always looking up. Animals are always looking up. I wonder why they're able to see higher frequencies. Duh.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to something I was talking about before, after you get rid of those emotions, because they do come up, welcome them, and then make sure that your words, like I had a client this weekend who said, I'm constantly in fear, cancel, because I'm not talking about myself. My mother taught me to say cancel every time you say something negative. And he said he was always in fear. He was always scared about this and scared about that. He goes, why does it keep coming up? I said, because you keep saying it.
Right.
Stop saying it. Put it in the past. Say, you used to be scared. You used to be fearful. That's not who you are anymore. That's not how you roll anymore. You do not choose that. I said, when you choose to put it in the past, it's not how you define yourself. And one of the things that people need to look at is, because again, you can pick out some gems in that book that was written, thousands of years ago, called the Holy Book, because there's a few little nuggets in there that make sense. And so in the book of Genesis, God describes itself as the I am. Mm-hmm. And whatever we say after the words I am is how we define ourselves. So all we have to do is say, I am love, because that's exactly what God is love. It's right. The same energy. God is used in religion, but then it makes you think that it's a male, which is absurd. But if you think of it as love, the I am is love, then just say, I am love. But people say they are sick, they are this, they right. are that, they're depressed. And someone will come and say, I'm so depressed. I go, actually, no, you're love, but you're experiencing depression. So watch your words with all diligence, for by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. It's so powerful. It's so powerful that it actually creates us to manifest into whatever we define ourselves as. So watch the words, because that's going to help you let go of stuff from the past, and it won't manifest it any longer because it's not part of your identity or reality. So the words are important, the thoughts are important, the emotions are important. And you know that one positive thought outweighs 100 negative ones. I mean, that's pretty cool when you think of it.
Exactly. It kind of takes you back to the, your thing about smiling. I forget how many hundreds of muscles they say just a smile on your face changes on your face. It's almost like a natural facelift.
Okay, so I can skip the Botox appointment.
Skip the Botox, go for the smiling. Monica, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us. Monica and I will be right back. Hi, this is Maria Heller. If you're enjoying this show, please consider listening to the rest of it, along with hundreds of other hours of education, by a small subscription on my site. Get over to meria.net, meria.net. You are the only thing that supports this show. There's no corporate control, and there's plenty of education on site. So please consider either a subscription or a donation to keep the work going. There are too many alternative voices out there that are being silenced because of lack of support. So if you don't want MSM to be the only mind-controlling news out there, please consider supporting the people that support you, and help us all save something for the future for our children. Thank you so much.